a rose up for you next, which as and when you know how to handle it will bring you immense pleasure and great joy in the garden. I bought 4 of these originally as a bush rose, and very soon after that they were reclassified by David Austin as a short climber. In my growing opinion, Claire Austin is neither. Claire Austin will never conform to the standards you require it to if you want it to grow as a climber. It will be lumpy, it will be bumpy, you'll never be able to train it horizontally. This absolutely stunning rose deserves to stand alone on a pillar, on an obelisk, or maybe even just a singular post. Plant this at the back of a border or somewhere close to an edge of a border where you can absolutely enjoy it towering above you, and it will be an absolute joy. It reaches something in a region of 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet, and I have built mine now their own obelisks to stand on, and they are an absolute joy. Claire Austin is a beautiful, beautiful white cream rose. I've picked these a couple of days ago because one drawback with this particular rose is they are so deeply cupped. You can see those outer petals there completely enveloping that central cup, that lovely chalice bulb formation or bowl formation in the centre. Hundreds and hundreds of petals packed into this, making this the most sumptuous rose that they grow. The scent is really good. It's got a lovely, strong myrth, old English fragrance, and it really is very, very attractive. However, this deep bowling, this deep cupping on the actual shape of the flower does unfortunately make Claire Austin really prone to balling. You can see the water damage on the outside of those petals, which in my opinion is not particularly unattractive. Obviously, if you wanted a pure creamy white bloom, they obviously spoil that effect. But if you don't pick these and bring these into the house, if these get wet, there are so many petals in there that they will literally stick together and ball together, and they won't actually be able to open properly. So seasons like we're experiencing here in the UK at the moment, they're a little bit challenging for Claire Austin. But Claire Austin grown up a pillar or an obelisk is an absolute joy. The blooms are really quite large, they're very heavy. These are relatively small. They will reach something in the region when they're fully open of around 3 to 3.5 inches across. Fairly mid joining the party, something normally coming into flower in mid to late June. However, I have known Claire Austin to still be in flower all the way through to the very beginning of December. The colour changes quite drastically on her towards the end of the season. It will go much more peachy pink as the weather dips down. The buds are absolutely wonderfully yellow, buttery colour. You can see they're really, really very attractive. That one there is much better for you to have a look at. A lovely sort of buttercream yellow, opening to this absolutely sumptuous, pure ivory white with a sort of yellow tinge in the very, very centre. It is really, really very attractive. Virtually thornless, which is perfect, producing great big long, I mean I've got several here for you to look at. Lovely, long, graceful, arching stems. These are produced almost to a length of around 3 feet. So for a really large floral arrangement in the house, these are great. And being virtually thornless, they're really easy to handle. The vase life, once again, is particularly short, as it always is with all of the Austins. You're not likely to get more than around 2 days out of Claire Austin in a vase, but for those brief moments in the house, it is an absolute joy. So, if you know how to handle it, give it a pillar, give it an obelisk or a post. Claire Austin reaching 8 to 10 feet, virtually thornless with an amazing scent, and these enormous white ivory cream blooms is really worth growing. But please, please don't try and treat it as a climber. It simply won't work. You will not get it to conform to the standards you want it. It will be lumpy, bumpy, it will be frustrating for her, be frustrating for you. So give her an obelisk or a post to grow up, and she will reward you with these utterly beautiful blooms all the way through the season. It's an absolute joy and one of my real favourites here in the garden.